in which we have to unfortunately start by talking about the return of Hot Rod Roddy Piper.
I didn't think he was bad on the first bit.
No, he's terrible in the first bit. You were just distracted by the watch along.
Yeah, and his cool jacket.
So Piper comes out, he does have his cool jacket, he is still Roddy Piper.
That's the thing, he can ramble about bullshit for 20 minutes and I'll still be like, oh, Roddy Piper's cool.
He's been getting away with it for decades, like literally decades at this point. Like his entire WCW run is the same thing, where it's just like his promos are incomprehensible nonsense. Like the man is just incoherent, he's not saying things that make a remote lick of sense, but he's Roddy Piper.
So who gives a shit?
So like it doesn't matter. This is like his first promo after he was dropped by WWE. He made the return to WWE at WrestleMania for the Vince and Hogan match, and then did the Sean O'Haire managing thing through the summer, and then was dropped by WWE because he did an interview with a HBO show, Bryant Gumbel's HBO show, where he talked about drug use and wrestling and how sometimes he didn't like who he was as a wrestler, and WWE didn't like that, so they dropped him.
God forbid people admit their problems or their feelings about the pro wrestling business.
Yeah, because we don't want it to get better, and we just want to just brush it under the rug at all times.
It's easier that way.
So Piper comes out and he starts kind of addressing the fact that WWE fired him. He talks about how he did all he did in his career and then a promoter lets him go or something like that. He talks about how his son asked if he was a drug addict. He talked about how the NWA saved his life and now he wants to be a part of the NWA rocket ship taking off.
My favorite part about this promo is he's like, am I here just to support my ego? Am I here to just ride the coattails of something new? Maybe. I've done it before. I'll do it again.
Again, you admire the honesty.
He's like, yeah, maybe I am using this just to pump my name out again. I've done it before and I'll do it again.
So eventually Piper is interrupted by Vince Russo.
Your favorite.
Russo standing on the announce desk and he's talking about how, like, what are you here for, Piper? Are you just here to leech off our success? You're just here to burn another bridge? You don't care about the NWA. You don't care about these young guys. And then, like, Piper starts talking about how, like, last time they were face-to-face, he made a mistake. And I thought he was actually going to talk about the Owen segment again, but no, he just talks about how he didn't kill Russo where he stood then.
He should have been like, I don't care about the young guys. Michael Shane, come out here and face me.
So Vince Russo issues an ultimatum. It's him or Piper. So TNA can let Piper go or they can let Russo go. But if they let Russo go, AJ's going with them.
And you know what that means.
That they're going to fire AJ Styles right here.
Yeah, that's who I'd pick.
So that's your show running angle. Later in the show, Russo comes out and he demands answers from Don Callis, I guess, or Eric Watts. I don't know. One of them. They do try to clarify that this month. They do clarify that Eric Watts is in charge of wrestling matches and Don Callis is in charge of everything else.
Yeah, I like that we finally got the definition of what's happening.
It only took like their third attempt to actually clarify this, but they finally like delineated what these two men do.
Yeah, because it was kind of important.
So Russo comes out, he demands an answer before he's interrupted by the American Dream, Dusty Rhodes.
Yes.
Dusty is like such a better ambassador for like tradition and the legacy of the NWA than Piper is.
Sorry, I got distracted because I'm reading the Ryback's Twitter account.
Oh, forgot. Why are you reading Ryback's Twitter account in the middle of recording?
Because I thought it'd be a funny interlude. And am I wrong?
You are. I hate the Ryback.
The Ryback has tweeted, I love listening to Joe Rogan on Spotify.
For God's sake.
That's just a troll tweet, though. Wishing everyone a great Monday. #hungry.
Feed him more, Liam. He's hungry.
He had COVID.
That's unfortunate.
Peppermint tea has worked wonders for the lungs and have dropped the kick-out immune support down to once a day again. Appetite definitely down, though. Lost 10 pounds.
Feed him more, Liam.
The big guy's going to look nice and lean for his AEW debut tonight.
Feed him more. Feed him Isaiah Cassidy.
I will now get off of Ryback's Twitter account. I was just like, it's so funny that if I just start reading Ryback tweets.
God damn it. He has never been in TNA. He has no relevance to this podcast.
Shout outs to the Boogeyman for re-signing after we read his tweets.
They should give him the Fiend gimmick.
Yeah.
They should just make the Boogeyman the Fiend.
They should make him the Fiendess.
Yeah.
Anyway, you can go talk about whatever stupid shooting stuff you're talking about.
Yeah, so Dusty Rhodes comes out and he's trying to talk AJ into leaving Russo. He's like, oh, you represent honor, you represent tradition. That everyone in the world wants that belt, but you have it, so you should represent it with integrity. Then he's like, but the fact that you have that belt means you get paid more than anybody else. And when you go to the pay window, what do you have to do with some of that money? Where does some of it go? And then Russo's like, oh, blah, blah, blah. And then AJ's like, I have thought about what you have said, Dusty Rhodes, and maybe I will turn on Vince Russo, but it's a swerve.
I mean, this is the AJ character, is that he always pretends he's listening to the right advice, and then he's like, no, swivel hips, baby.
Yeah, so they start beating down on Dusty. Piper tries to make the save, but he's dragged away by the red shirt security before...
And, like, embarrassingly dragged away.
Literally, like, dragged physically. And fair play to Piper, because usually when people are dragged away, it looks like they're not resisting. It looks like Piper's trying to, like, sandbag these dudes, dragging him away.
Like, his kilt rides up. It looks very comedic.
And then eventually Jarrett comes out and makes the actual save for Dusty as we begin the build toward AJ Styles and Dusty Rhodes.
I thought you meant we begin the build to AJ Styles and Jeff Jarrett.
Well, we're doing that too.